Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to 90 Day Fiancé, latest news updates for years. Viewers of 90 Day Fiancé believed they had seen every possible obstacle a couple could face: cultural clashes, age gaps, family rejection, and heartbreaking ultimatums. But nothing could have prepared fans for the emotional storm that was quietly building between Jenny Slate and Sumit Singh. What once looked like a love story that defied all odds was slowly turning into a painful test of endurance, patience, and self-respect. Jenny had traveled halfway across the world for love, leaving behind her life in the United States, her comfort zone, and her sense of familiarity. She chose India, an unfamiliar land with unfamiliar rules, all for one man, Sumit. Their relationship had already survived lies, secrets, and scandals that would have destroyed most couples. Yet Jenny stayed. Again and again, she stayed. But love, no matter how deep, is not infinite. From the outside, Jenny and Sumit's journey appeared romantic: a woman following her heart, a man torn between love and tradition. But behind closed doors, something darker was brewing. The tension was no longer just about culture or family approval. It was about time, about promises made and repeatedly broken, about a woman slowly realizing that sacrifice without progress is not love, it is survival. Jenny wasn't just fighting Sumit's family. She was fighting exhaustion. Every morning she woke up in India, she reminded herself why she was there. She told herself that love was worth the struggle, that patience would eventually be rewarded. But patience has a breaking point, and as days turned into years, that breaking point crept closer. Sumit, on the other hand, remained trapped between two worlds. Raised in a deeply traditional Indian household, family approval was not optional, it was everything. His parents had never accepted Jenny. To them, she was not just older. She represented shame, defiance, and a challenge to social norms they had lived by all their lives. No matter how hard Jenny tried to prove herself, she remained an outsider in their eyes. And Sumit knew this. Yet instead of choosing a clear path, he chose delay. He chose hope without action. He chose comfort in indecision. Again and again, he asked Jenny to wait just a little longer. One more conversation, one more attempt to convince his parents, one more promise that things will change. But change never came. What came instead was silence, avoidance, and excuses disguised as respect for family. Jenny began to notice the pattern. Every time marriage was discussed, there was a reason to postpone. Every time she demanded clarity, she was met with uncertainty. Slowly, the future she had imagined began slipping further away. And with it, her sense of security. This wasn't just about a wedding anymore. This was about dignity. Jenny had given up her home, her savings, her independence. She had risked everything for a man who still couldn't fully choose her. And the realization was devastating. Love should feel safe. Love should feel mutual. But Jenny felt alone, emotionally isolated in a foreign country, fighting battles she never asked for. The pressure from Sumit's family was relentless. His mother especially made her disapproval painfully clear. Passive-aggressive comments turned into open hostility. Every interaction felt like a test. Jenny was destined to fail. No matter how respectful she tried to be, it was never enough. And Sumit's silence during these moments hurt more than the words themselves. He rarely stood up fully for her. He tried to keep the peace, but peace for whom? Certainly not for Jenny. Each moment of hesitation chipped away at her confidence. Each failure to defend her made her question her worth in his life. For the first time, Jenny began asking herself a question she had avoided for years. What if love isn't enough? That question terrified her, because if love wasn't enough, then what had all this pain been for? Late at night, when the cameras were gone and the house was quiet, Jenny lay awake thinking about everything she had lost and everything she still might lose. She wasn't just afraid of leaving Sumit. She was afraid of admitting that this relationship might never give her the life she had been promised. Meanwhile, Sumit continued to believe that time would somehow fix everything, that eventually his parents would soften, that Jenny would continue to wait. But he underestimated something powerful: Jenny's growing self-awareness. She was no longer the woman who arrived in India hopeful and unquestioning. She had changed. She had endured, and endurance was turning into resentment. The love story that once inspired fans was now hanging by a fragile thread, because when a woman starts questioning her own sacrifices, the end is closer than anyone realizes. And Jenny was getting dangerously close to walking away, just from Sumit's family, but from Sumit himself.